I am loving in such a more full and robust way. If I'm feeling like parts of me have to be hidden or I can't share it all, then that love is a bit slighted. It doesn't get the full-bodied aroma and flavor.
Welcome to the Beauty and You podcast, a safe place created for all women to come relax. Join us as we dive into the true meaning of rediscovery through inspiring guests and topics such as healing, self-love, and creating a positive mindset. So sit back, relax, and get comfortable as we dive into this week's episode. Here's your host, Chi Quita Mack.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Beauty and You podcast. I'm really excited for this episode today. I already feel grounded and just in my element right now. And so I can't wait for you to meet this wonderful woman who is changing the world with the power of her voice and her words. Welcome to the Beauty and You podcast, Erica. How are you?
I am well. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for being here and just taking the time out of your busy day to sit on the couch with me.
Yes, it's a joy to be here.
So we're going to talk about a lot today. Hopefully we get really into it. I just want to talk about your journey and just everything that you're doing, especially for us Black women, and just giving us that platform and that space to be safe. I feel safe with you right now, just sitting in front of me.
That.
And we haven't even gotten started yet. But before we do all of that, can you just tell everyone who you are?
Sure. I am Erica St. Bernard. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I am an ordained minister. I am a wife of 20 years, 21 in July. Thank you. A mom of 2, an entrepreneur, a therapist who sees predominantly Black and brown clients, supporting us in life and love and wellness. My tag is life, love, legacy. Because I do believe that we should be well in our lives, we should be well in our loves, and we should be well as we prepare to leave a legacy for whoever we're going to impact. And I broaden the scope of legacy just from who we birth or who we, raise to this idea that as Black and brown people, whatever we create, those who come behind us get to benefit from. And so that's the legacy I'm talking about, not just if and when you have your own children, but the impact that you make, the impartation that you give and leave in the world is what I consider to be the legacy. And so I came to this work as first an early childhood educator.
Okay.
I went to school for education and knew for sure I was going to be a teacher for the rest of my life until I went to an open house for marriage and family therapy. And what sparked that is that while I was in the classroom with students, they were struggling. And it was not an academic struggle. It was a social and emotional struggle. And I began praying and asking God, well, what else am I supposed to do? Because something here seems missing. So I started praying and asking and being open. And then my husband accepted his first youth ministry position in South Florida. So when we moved from Maryland to South Florida, I said, well, maybe it's time to go back to school. I went to that open house and it was like the sky opened up and the birds were singing like, sis, this is the move. And I've not looked back since.
Wow. It's crazy how we think we're meant to do one thing and we end up doing something else.
Totally different.
So let's talk about that and what that journey looked like for you once you transitioned into this new world at the time.
Yeah, at the time it was, I won't say frightening, but there was a bit of concern for how was I going to transfer those skills, right? I'd spent this money on this degree for undergrad, and now I'm spending new money on this new degree. What was it going to look like? And one of the things that was so beautiful about that transition in terms of when I started seeing clients and supporting them in that way were the reminders from God that I had been doing similar work all along. He reminded me of in high school, I would be on three-way back in the day, right? I'm telling my age now. I would be on three-way in the middle of a call. I'd have a boyfriend on one end and a girlfriend on the other end, and I would be trying to help them fight fair.
Wow.
I would be trying to help them not quit or work through whatever the challenge was. And so God said, you've been doing some of this. Of course, it's different now. You'll have clinical training and a license,
Right.
But you've been helping people navigate relationships for a long time. I was also the social butterfly friend. I didn't have only one friend group. I could float around from group to group, and God was showing me that that is not a superpower, but maybe, right? This idea that you don't have to only have one set of people that you connect with, but you can connect with multiple people in multiple spaces. And so that was another gift in that process, reminding me that not only do you have what it takes, but God will give you what you need. And oh my, if I tell you the journey I've been on, God has indeed given me everything that I've needed and then some. Even when I wondered, God, what are you doing? Because there have been those moments too.
Oh man, you're reminding me kind of maybe where I am in my journey. I'm realizing that everything that's happening and the blessings that are coming, I've been equipped to handle this, and I've done some part of this already in my life. And that experience that didn't necessarily feel good at the time, because not all experiences are great experiences.
That's right.
I've learned a lesson from that, and I'm now able to look back and say, oh, I did do that. This is what I would do differently. Oh, this is the time to do that differently. So I'm kind of in that transitional period in my journey where I'm like, Lord, I don't really know what I'm doing. But then I'm like, well, maybe I do, because I did it. And that's why I went through that.
Yeah. Yeah. There are parts of it that mirror, and then parts that are, like off kilter a bit, but that when you zoom out, right? I think sometimes we are so focused on zooming in to see the what, the why, and the how. And sometimes it's helpful to zoom out, because when we zoom out, we get to see, oh, this is how this piece connects to this piece. But if I'm too focused, too fixed, then it's harder to see that. But when I zoom out, I'm like, oh, now I see how these corners align and these edges come together.
Yeah. I say, pull up. I always say, we got a hashtag pull up. So I say that a lot at work.
Yeah.
Pull up. We got to pull up, guys. We got to see the bigger
Gotta see
picture.
the bigger picture.
Helping relationships is not, that's hard. That's hard. And that is a gift within itself. Talk to me about do you ever feel any fear or challenges with working with relationships and just being a part of that? I know you did it before, but
Sure.
diving into that.
Yeah, for the past 14 years, I've been licensed. And along that journey, there have been relationship dynamics, whether family in terms of like moms and dads and children, or romantic partnerships, or even I've had one group of sister friends who came together because they had this really ugly conflict that needed some support resolving. And so in each of those scenarios, there have been moments of, I don't know if I know what I'm supposed to do next. Ooh, this is a lot.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful for the way God has wired me and how he's allowed me to be who I am. I will say to clients in full transparency, this is a lot. And I say that and I pause, because I want to give them permission to acknowledge that this is a lot. I think sometimes they bring their relationship to the expert, quote unquote, and they're like, okay, you've got it. And I'm like, I joke about this idea of, you don't take your car to the mechanic when you've busted out all 4 tires and your engine has blown and you need a new transmission. There has to be some maintenance that's happening along the way, right? We have 30,000 miles or 3,000 miles, whatever the mileage is, right? You're supposed to have your car serviced. When you don't do that, there are consequences. And so what does it look like to be really intentional about being proactive in terms of how we care for ourselves within the relationship, right? So when we're talking about taking care of ourselves, that looks like, what is going on with me that could be impacting the relationship? It is easy for me to point my finger at my husband, at my kids, at my colleagues, at my coworkers, and say that it's them. It's something they're saying or something they're doing. And sometimes we have to take a page from the book of our dear friend Michael Jackson, who said, I'm starting with the man or woman in the mirror. And when we do that, there's some clarity and some aha to say, oh, I'm playing a role. Even if I'm not the whole reason stuff is off. There's something that I'm doing or saying or not doing that could be further impacting things. And so, yes, the work of relationships is challenging, but it is also really rewarding. Yeah. There are times when I see the light bulbs click and I see the change happening and I see the love rekindling, or I see the friendship rebuilding. And I work with individuals too. So it's not always relational dynamics in the context of 2 clients or more working directly with me. And so it's really beautiful to watch women and men come to themselves in a way that helps them show up differently in the relationship, and then to begin to experience the fulfillment of that in relation to their partner.
As you're saying that, I'm thinking of like self-awareness, self-aware. You have to be very much aware of who you are, or being willing to do the work as individual. I go to therapy, went to therapy, go to therapy, couples therapy, and then we did individual therapy as well. And it was very important. First of all, I did not like individual therapy in the beginning, because I had to be self-aware, and I really had to deal with Quita for real. Like, girl, what are you, this is really what you're doing. And then he had to do the work on him to say, oh, wow, this is what I'm doing. And we had to figure out where that came from. But as you're talking, I'm like, yes, self-awareness is definitely key, especially when you're bringing 2 individuals who, yes, they love each other, but they're different individuals, and you're bringing them together. And then we have this long long bond that, we've been married for 18 years now?
Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
18 years. But it's been work. And I try to explain that as well. Like, that's beautiful. Or, that's great. I'm like, yeah, but we worked for these 18 years and it's been up, down, left, right, whatever you can think of. We've gone through that. But we had to do that individual work, I say, was the key. Outside of the couples therapy.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that leads me to a great segue as we think about, my book, We Over Me. One of the things that I saw in relationships specifically was that people were wanting to be partnered, but they wanted to function independently.
Yeah.
And so it's my way and it's my money and these are my rules and this is how I'm going to live and this is what I'm going to do. And while some of that is fine, because you should not lose your whole self in marriage, right? I'm not ever going to align with that. But there is something about we over me and this need to prioritize who we are becoming as a unit over who I've been as a human. And not to the extent that, again, I wipe myself out or, diminish who I am. But how do I invest who I am into this relationship so that both of us get something really beautiful out of it? How am I making sure that I'm showing up in a way that really is authentic to who I am so that it feels good to me, so that it feels aligned? Because when I'm feeling aligned, I am loving in such a more full and robust way. If I'm feeling like parts of me have to be hidden or I can't share it all, then that love is a bit slighted. It doesn't get the full-bodied aroma and flavor and taste and flavor that it's supposed to have. And so it's the opportunity to say, this matters to me. I'm important to me just as much as you're important to me, just as much as this relationship is important to me. And so to your point about individual therapy alongside couples therapy and sometimes family therapy, but yes, the work that we do with and for ourselves is so valuable. We get to glean, we get to learn about ourselves. And when we learn about ourselves, we can then share with our partner, hey, I learned that in this season, this is really important to me.
Yeah.
It's harder to do that, though, if we don't know ourselves, right? I can't advocate for myself if I don't know myself.
Exactly.
And so sometimes that third party, I'm a therapist who has a therapist. I tell my clients that. It's great to have that space where somebody can see me and help me see me, who's not aligned with what the outcomes are going to be. Right? My family loves me, but they love me to the extent that I'm going to be able to serve and benefit them. Because that's the nature of relationship, right? But in therapy, I'm caring about my clients because I care about my clients. Hard stop.
Yeah.
It's not because then if I care about them, they will be able to fill in the blank for me. No, it's I care about them because they're humans and they deserve to be cared for. And the same is true in our relationships, making sure that there's balance in that.
Yeah. And when you were saying that too, I was thinking of communication part, because that part... like being able to communicate, that's what I didn't have. I wasn't able to communicate even who I was really, and that I was changing, being together since you're 18 and then being the age I am now. I'm not the same person, obviously, but it was very difficult for me to express those changes and that my goals have changed and those marks have changed too. So it was really enlightening to just realize like, you're okay. You can communicate that with your partner. They're changing too. So I'm sure as you are wanting to communicate that, he got some stuff he want to say to you too. Absolutely. And so it opened up the door.
Absolutely. And that's such a beautiful dynamic when we understand that there is constant evolution, right? The person that we married on the wedding day, whatever our ceremony was, however we got together, is not exactly the same person we're with today. The essence of them is the same, right? The core of them is probably still there. But like you said, their dreams have changed, their ambitions, their goals, their drive, what they've pursued, what we've accomplished together and alongside each other have impacted who we are. And to your point, as we're looking ahead, it's important to have real conversations about where are we headed, right? Where are you headed individually? What are the goals you have? What are my goals? And then how do we make sure we are aligned toward our shared goals, our individual goals too, making sure that there's room for all of it. And that requires quite a bit of conversation and communication.
Yes, that's the key.
Yes.
Communicate. Talk it out.
Communication, yes.
I think it's really important that most of your clients are Black and brown.
Yes.
And I say that because we need that. We need more clients like you. It's so important, or therapists like you. It's very important that we see ourselves in who are helping us navigate these challenges. Talk to me about the importance of wanting to help our community.
Yes. So funny you asked that question. When I was in school and started looking at the program, which was Marriage and Family Therapy, is the program I went to school for, I looked at the directory at that time the directory of the, I think it was the American Association for Marriage and Family Therapists, and it was lily white. And I was like, if I needed help, I'm not sure that there's anybody on this directory I would feel immediately comfortable reaching out to. And then I looked at some other directories like social work and, professional counselors, and I saw that there were a sprinkling of black and brown faces, more than there were on the MFT side. And so I began praying and saying, God, I think this is the track of therapy I'm going to take, because I want to be a brown face. Yeah. I want to be somebody that they see on a directory that they at least get curious about, right? I won't be everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine, but at least they'll have an option. And one of the things that's been really great is that when I ask clients, I can say almost, if not 8 out of 10 times, I ask clients when they reach out to me and we have our initial consultation, how did you find me or what made you reach out to me? They'll tell me how they found me. Sometimes it's word of mouth. Sometimes it is one of the directories. And almost always they say, you are a black woman and I felt seen by your picture or what you wrote in your profile or something that you said, or if they found me on social media, something you said there. And so I am mindful that the people are looking for people, right? Just like me. When I looked for my therapist, I was looking for a brown woman. I was looking for a sister girl who wouldn't be my best friend, who wouldn't be my homie, because that's not what therapy is, but who would be able to support me because she is living a similar experience, even if our lives are completely different, right? There are some similarities, while there are nuances too, that experience of being a person of color and living in these United States is something that we cannot minimize the impact and the power of. There are conversations you don't have to fully have when you're with somebody, right? Like that silent, girl, we just read each other. We read the room and I saw this and you saw that too. And so, but we didn't say a word. Right? But there's this rhythmic kind of connection that is really beautiful and that lends itself to some really beautiful rapport building in therapy that is so important.
Yes. And oh gosh, like, yes, I need you. That when I looked for my therapist, I wanted a black woman, but I also wanted to connect. Like, it's not just because you're black doesn't mean that everyone you're going to connect with.
Absolutely.
My therapist, oh God, I needed someone just like her that was going to push me and make me feel uncomfortable to the point to where I knew that I couldn't, like, if I don't want to do something, like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that. To be like, okay, Keto, then why are we here? Because I'm going to get paid. like, why are you here? Yeah. I needed that woman that understood and say, I know where you're coming from. Your walls are up. I know why your walls are up. I've been there. Yes. I needed that. Yeah. And I'm so thankful she pushed me. But I needed that. And I wanted to be that to other people as well. Like, I want, like, yeah, we're not best friends, but I want you to know that I see you.
Absolutely.
I've been there. Yes, our journeys are not exactly the same, but girl, I can tell you some things as well.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about that. Let's get there. It's so important that we have examples like that. And so I'm very thankful. I didn't need to tell you that, but I'm very thankful for the work that you do and that you are setting the example for people like me.
It means so much to hear from you. So thank you. I appreciate your affirmation of the work. Again, I know that I'm connected and committed to this work because obviously sometimes it does feel like work. I won't pretend that it doesn't. Sometimes the sessions are heavy and what comes up is hard. And even alongside that, there is this sense that I am so on purpose, that I am so where I'm supposed to be, serving who I'm supposed to serve. And so there are messages from clients sporadically. They'll send me a text message. Hey, I'm thinking about you and just wanted to say thanks for the way you show up for me. Thanks for holding space the way you do. And like you said, they will show up at the most appropriate time. I'll be in maybe a funk of my own or trying to process something. And here comes a message reminding me, stay with the podcast. It's working. I like it. So these reminders that what we're doing is adding value. And as much as we need that, our clients need that. And so I am the person who will say, hey, wait, you're telling me about this amazing thing and you're trying to jump to the next thing. Let's sit with that accomplishment for a minute. And they're like, girl. And I'm like,
Yeah.
And I pause. And I'm like, hey, so how did we celebrate? And I'm saying, it doesn't have to be confetti falling from the sky. It doesn't have to be a 5-star dinner. But what did we do? Yeah. I haven't done anything yet. I said, okay, so what's the plan?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, yes, oh my gosh, this is a great milestone. This is a great accomplishment. Right. So helping us to slow down enough, because if you're like many Black women that I know, we go and we go and we do and we do. And it's the next thing, and it's on to the next thing, and it's an affirmation here, and it's on to the thank you, and we're going to, and it's like, wait a minute, did we allow that to resonate? Like, we worked really hard to get that. And then we're just on to the next thing. And it's like, yeah, but also, let's pause for a moment.
Yeah, I feel like you're talking to me. Stop it. Because
Okay,
I do that. I get asked that, what did you do to celebrate? I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't have time. Actually, you do have time.
You do. And again, it can be small. It doesn't have to be extravagant, right? It can be a new lip color. It can be a dessert. It can be a walk. You know what I mean? It can be a new candle that you light. It can be, I don't know, whatever it needs to be, right? It has to be. And sometimes we need something bigger. Sometimes it is a weekend away. Sometimes it is a trip. Yeah. But sometimes it can be a really small, you know what, I'm going to go to the coffee shop and get that latte I've been thinking about. And I'm going to enjoy it while it's hot. Because if you're a mom, sometimes you drink cold stuff and you eat cold food because kids are all over the place. And you're like, what? So yeah, slowing down to enjoy and celebrate the moments that you worked really hard for.
Yeah, because we do work hard, and we do feel, well, I know at one point I felt very appreciated in what I was doing, and just operating in my light and just really, really pushing through. But I do still find it hard, very transparent, to celebrate, no matter what I accomplish. And it is, even as I'm accomplishing that thing, I'm already thinking about the next thing. I'm completely honest. I'm like, this is so dope on that date. But when I'm done,
the next date, right, the 15th is when that happens. On the 16th, around noon, and it's like, sis, can you let the 15th like rest first before we jump to the next thing? But then I get it, right? We live in a world, and we're in the DMV, so it is a fast pace, constantly moving, all the time, popping in and doing. And so to practice like slowing down, it's like to practice it. And know that practice takes time, right? Practice is repetitive. And so maybe tomorrow I speed through the day. But then the next day I'm like, oh, wait, I don't have to run. I can walk. Yeah. I can slow down.
Just a little bit. Hey, y'all, come join me this September 12th at the Westin at the National Harbor for the From Breakthrough to the Bank brunch. Get your tickets down below. So let's talk about the self-care. Let's talk about self-care.
Self-care.
Lord,
Yes.
I do it a little bit.
Yeah. So one of the things that I love to say about self-care is that it is not always, I think for a season, self-care was all the big things, right? It was the trip. It was the spa day. It was the mani-pedi. It was the hair and the nails and all the things. And all those things are great. I'm not suggesting those are not forms of self-care. But when we think about self-care from a more holistic perspective, it is to ask literally, self, what do you need right now? Right? And maybe we ask in the mirror. That's an exercise I do with my clients. I'll say, hey, for the next few days, look in the mirror and ask yourself, what do you need right now? Right? We'll ask our friends, hey, what do you need right now? We know they're having a rough time or they're celebrating something. We're like, how can I support you? How can I show up for you? Ask yourself, how can I support you? How can I show up for you? Sometimes it is to schedule that overdue doctor's appointment. Sometimes it is to schedule that dental appointment. Sometimes it is to follow up with those women's appointments. I recently had another mammogram. Grateful for, the greatness that the results that came from that. It's following up. It's showing up with friends. It's inviting friends to meet up. And sometimes they are errands. It's not always the glam of, a brunch or, a boat ride. Sometimes it is, girl, can we meet up and go to Costco? Because I got errands to run. I want to be with you, right? So you bring your coffee and I bring my coffee. Or we walk laps around the Costco with our carts and we get our stuff, right? So then we've done two things. We've spent time with somebody who fills us up and who lights our light or supports our light. And then we've also gotten all the toilet paper and paper towels and the other stuff we needed to do, right? And so that's not a plug for Costco either. But, big box stores, whichever one you prefer. But really thinking about, slowing down and giving ourselves what we need in the same way that we give the people we love what they need. We don't deprive our children. We don't deprive our partners. We don't deprive even our friends and family members. We are intentional. We rip and run, literally. Those are the words we use. I'm ripping and running from here to there to make sure they have what they need. And self is saying, hey, I tell clients, I envision myself watching me do things for other people with a little bit of a side eye like, oh, really? So she got time for that, but she didn't give us a workout this morning. She had time to make sure that worked out, but she didn't, right? So, and not in a judgmental kind of way, but in a, hey, remember me kind of way, right? So self-care for me is really boils down to how are we taking good care of ourselves, similarly to the way we take good care of the people we love. Because I love myself. And for some of us, that's the challenge, right? I love all these people. And I've forgotten how to love me. I've forgotten how to take time for her. And I know that sometimes life is just really full and busy. If you have multiple children, or if you're caregiving, you have moms or, dads or people you're caring for, you're working, you're an entrepreneur, you're in school. Like, there are long lists of reasons why self-care just gets pushed back. I get it. And also I'm saying more things can happen at similar times. So maybe while I'm dropping kids off at soccer or whatever their activity is, I'm sitting in the car, and a part of my self-care might be a meditative moment. Part of my self-care might be listening to a Bible study or a scripture verse. Part of my self-care might be calling a girlfriend so we can kiki on the phone, right? It can look very different for each of us, but it's figuring out how we tend to the self, because we're asking a lot of ourselves. We need her to get up, show up, look pretty, do the thing, be professional, be punctual. And she is like, could you just give me like a relaxing bath?
Can I just chill?
Right. Can I take a shower and like not be rushed?
Yeah.
Right. I tell my clients, like, slow down when you're moisturizing your skin. Don't just hit the hot spots, the knees and the elbows and the shoulder. Like, let me just get this real quick. Like, no, slow down. Like, get the webbing of your fingers. Take care of the thighs. Take care of the feet. Like, slow down. And it's a really beautiful practice of demonstrating to yourself that you matter to yourself. Because other people, we matter to them too, but they can't self-care for us. My husband loves me, but he can't self-care for me. Yeah. He can schedule, he can buy the certificate to the place, but he can't take me or make me go and make me enjoy or be present for the experience. And so we have to be really intentional about that.
Yeah. That is amazing, because that's where we're at. And I feel guilty too. Certain things I do. Kikiing on the phone, that's every day. Me and Yanita, hi Yanita, we talk every day on the phone. That fills me up. Yes. But the important thing you said is just doing what we have to do that's going to fill us up and make us feel good. But you mentioned meditation, and I want to talk about your podcast for a little bit. So let's talk about your podcast.
Yes, thank you. So my podcast is called Melanated Moments with Erica. And again, I looked at the directories and looked at the offerings of meditations, and a lot of them were white voice, white experience. Yes. And while those don't, while they have their value, I thought about me. And sometimes I don't want to hear a white voice. Yeah. That's just keeping it real. I just like, no, I don't want to do that. So I thought, what better way for me I could sit and complain about, oh my gosh, they need to be some black voices. Or I could contribute by being a black voice. And so that's how it started. It actually started when I'd gone to Chicago for a trip. I was originally supposed to be going to Israel. Okay. Literally the weekend before Israel blew up. Whoa. We were set to leave that Monday. Things popped off on that Saturday. Whoa. And so that year had already been a lot. And I had been looking forward to this break, this time away from home and family and responsibilities. And then things shifted. And I remember saying to my husband, I've got to go somewhere. Like, I've been holding my breath waiting for this trip. And now this trip isn't going to happen. And so he said, well, let's find you somewhere to go. That somewhere was Chicago. I went on a solo trip, one of my first since becoming a mom. Went on this solo trip, Quita. And while I was there in the hotel, I started thinking, I wonder what it would sound like to record like a meditative moment. Like, what would that look like? And so literally on my phone, I opened the voice memo and recorded the first draft of what started the podcast. And it wasn't the original or the initial episode, but it was one of the sequential ones. But it was that moment in time where I was present with myself, able to think about what I needed to hear, what I wanted to contribute, what I thought would resonate with other Black and brown women who were living a similar experience to mine. And that was the birthing of Melanated Moments with Erica. And we are at almost, I think we're approaching the 60th episode. And so that's exciting. And so it's been really great. Thank you. Yeah.
What I like about that moment and what I like about you is that both things, you saw a need and you didn't just complain about it. You contributed to what we needed. Yeah. And so you're changing lives in all aspects of what you do as a mom, as a partner, as a minister, as a therapist, and even for yourself. Like, you are doing that for us.
I appreciate that. Thank you. You're talking about like celebrating. I don't know that I've paused to celebrate that, like to realize that when I saw an issue or an area that needed to be plugged, I
you
did
fixed
something
it.
right to help.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that I've put those two things together. I know that I did it from that heart, but I don't know that I realized like, yeah, no, sis, you did that. Like you were
That's
intentional
you.
to make that happen. And so thank you for honoring that. I appreciate that.
You're very intentional. Your journey, even like just reading over your bio, you're very intentional about what you do and how you're going to change that and how you're going to make a difference. And so through all of it, you have to pause and celebrate because you're making a difference. And I see you. And so for me,
Thank you.
seeing someone like, it just motivates me to keep going in my journey and to keep pushing with my podcast and to keep wanting to make a difference out there and just changing. So you're doing that, not just for me, but there's other people that see you and they're just like, wow, what she's doing is amazing. And I appreciate that.
Thank you. I
really
appreciate that
do.
too. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's again, the beautiful thing in this moment is that we don't ever outgrow, outpace, outdo, out excel the need to hear affirmation. Or I think we're like, oh, when you get to this status, you don't need to hear that anymore. When you become Oprah, you don't need to hear that anymore. When you become Ava DuVernay, you don't need to hear. But like, no, along the journey, we need to be reaffirmed, right? Because it reminds us of maybe why we started the thing we started or why we're doing the thing we're doing. And sometimes we get into the lull spaces where we're like, gotta make the donuts. Let me go record an episode. Let me try to find a guest. And it's like, wait, no, remember, this is a part of... This is why we're doing this. This is what we're looking forward to. And when we can see it that way and remember, and so I appreciate the affirmation because, again, we need to affirm each other in that way. It's funny. I was on Instagram yesterday and I saw this post where a woman was talking about being in an elevator with another woman. And one woman said, oh, I really love your hair. And the other woman said, oh, your nails are really pretty. And the child said, why are you all saying nice things to each other? And the one of the mom who initiated the conversation said, because women need to lift each other up. Right. And it was just a small reminder that seeing your sister, right? And I love being Black because we will see each other from across the way and like, yo, hey, Sue.
I see you.
I see you, sis. Like just this whole, and you got to know, right? It's like, if you know, you know. And if you don't, you're like, what are they talking about? Why are they yelling across? Like, you wouldn't even know, right? And so like that, the beauty though of those moments of seeing each other and allowing ourselves to even be seen and really appreciating the affirmation that comes from that is such a beautiful gift we give to ourselves and to each other. So thank you.
You're welcome. I love being Black too. I love it. No, so now you made me think of my daughter now because it was, I'm going to talk about self-confidence. I done shifted this conversation real quick, but let me tell you why.
Yes.
You made me think of my daughter because I love being Black. And, but growing up, I'm dark skinned, right? My daughter's not as dark as me, but she has different hair. But anyway, I didn't love being Black then. I'm going to be completely transparent. Being a dark skinned woman in the South, it was very hard for me. So that self-love, self-care was very difficult because I always got, you are pretty for a dark-skinned girl. It was always that, you're pretty for a
Yeah.
And I struggled for a while and I didn't understand it. Raising my daughter, I'm like, you are going to love who you are because I love who I am now. So you're going to love who you are, girl. You're going to love your hair curly status. Well, I'll straighten it every now and then. But I just wanted her to really just love being herself. And she is just so confident. She does love her hair curly more so than straight, which I was like, yes, I will straighten it, but I wanted her to enjoy that. But when she was in kindergarten and she wore her hair curly, there was a little kid that picked on her hair. And Mommy, he said he didn't like my hair. And I said, my hair is beautiful. I still remember that moment. She's in the 7th grade now and we laugh about that. But I was like, yes, I'm doing something right.
Yes.
Like, yes. So I love being Black. I love pouring into our Black sisters. I love pouring into our youth and our young ladies and just building that confidence. Like, you are a Black woman, you're a Black girl, you're a Black woman, you're beautiful just as you are. And it's so important that we share those moments. I just had to share that because as you were saying that, I'm like, you just made me think of my daughter. Like,
yes. And I have similar stories with mine. You know, she's a natural hair girly and she wants to plaster her edges all across her face. And I'm like, no, ma'am, we're not doing that. You know, our hair doesn't do that. Our hair doesn't lay that way. You see, that's a forced process. We're going to let this be what it is. She's like, okay, Mom, but everybody has edges. I said, and everybody lives in a different house. In our household, this is what we do. And so we have many conversations about what it means to love ourselves, to look in the mirror and appreciate who we are for what we are. And if there's something we want to change, we talk about how we might adjust and make some changes, but also how we love ourselves in the skin we're in. And so I think it's great that you and your daughter have continued to have conversations about what it means to be fully present in who she already is. Because when we do that, as we grow and evolve and change and puberty comes and adulthood comes and perimenopause and menopause, like all the seasons and shifts and changes that happen in a woman's life, there are so many opportunities when we have those meaningful conversations along the way for those things to not define us. Yeah. Those can be things that we can talk about and adjust or make accommodations for, but we don't have to allow those things to like plow us down.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's very important for me to have those conversations early to make her comfortable enough to talk to me.
Yes.
Because my mama ain't talk to me.
Mine either, child.
Not about nothing.
Not about nothing like that.
What's happening? Talk to my friend. What's going on? What's happening? I learned from my friends more so than her. So I wanted her to be like, Mom, what is this? I'm like, okay, I got you. Let's look it up together because mommy don't know.
Absolutely. And I think that is such a beautiful moment of transparency and clarity that you can learn something together with your daughter, right? You can teach her. You can teach while learning. You can learn while teaching, like that. And then there's some things my daughter will bring to me, and then I'm like, really? And then I got to do my research. like well, where did she find that? And I'm like, oh, and then I'll go back to her and say, thanks so much for sharing that. I also found this, so that then we're connecting and collaborating on this learning that's taking place. And it's a really beautiful opportunity to connect with them, as you said, so that when there is something, maybe not the biggest thing ever, but something that they might not initially feel comfortable talking to us about, we are one of the first calls they make, and that's going to be life-giving, right? I think about, when I talk to families, I think about, yes, in this moment, these things are important. And when we zoom out, my hope is that I prepare my children, and I'm hopeful to support other people in preparing their children for the opportunity to always come back home, to always want to come back home, right? Because that's not the case for everybody. Some of us grow up and grow out, and we don't come back for good reason. I'm not judging, right? And then so to be able to create an environment where our children feel safe, feel seen, feel heard and cared for, and then they will launch and get their wings and go, but then they'll make their way back home because home feels safe. And so I want that for mine, and I want that for our children all.
Absolutely, because I didn't want to I go home now, but I didn't want to come back home. I left at 17. I didn't want to come back home. And I come back home now because we mended and worked it out. But I did. But it was so important that I broke it. Like I broke that for my kids. Like I want you to come. You always have a place here. I mean, I need you to go explore the world too. But you can always come back and hang out with mommy. You know. And I joke with my daughter. I'm like, you're gonna go off to college and you're gonna forget about me. And she's like, Mommy, I always want to go shopping with you. And I'm like, remember you said that. You know. But it was very important that we change the dynamic, because if I kept it going, Lord.
I literally went to therapy after having our daughter.
Yeah.
That was what sparked that for me, right? I'd been a clinician for a little while. I knew the things I knew, and I saw a similar pattern that was repeating in my parenting dynamic with her. And I was like, devil. We're not doing this. We are not doing this if I can help it. Yep. And so that was what started me in therapy. And I found the initial therapist who was an okay fit. And then I realized she was more old school than I needed her to be. And I said, this isn't it. I'm going to wait, though. I'm going to hold on. So to the people who are like, well, I found a therapist, but I'm not sure that they're the right one. I get that. I've been there. That's been my experience. And also, I didn't just quit. I was intentional to hold on to that therapist until I found a new one.
Good.
Right. And then I found the new therapist, and she happened to be younger than me. And I was like, well, I don't know what this little girl. And the Holy Spirit was like, ma'am.
Listen.
To somebody, you were a little girl. And you've been helpful. And I was like, you know what? Give her a chance. And she has been amazing. And so I mentioned that initial relationship with my daughter as the catalyst for therapy, because it's one of the ways that I've known, that it's helpful to be a resource. And it's also necessary for us to be resourced. Yep. Because when we're not, it shows.
It does show. So that was my start to therapy too, but it was my son. It was my son. So when you do the work, when I did my work, it started from the childhood. Oh my God.
Yes.
We could have a whole episode on childhood trauma.
A whole episode.
We're not going to do that today.
A series of episodes.
A whole series. The Beauty Podcast Season 5, childhood drama, okay?
Wait.
But it was masking the masking part, and it was just pretending like everything was okay, even though I wasn't okay. My son saw through that. And so he asked me that, like, Mommy, why are you always, into the words, so sad? Like, I thought I was I wasn't. I was very sad, but I thought I was at least showing them that Mommy was happy. And he's like, nah, bro, I see you.
Your slip is hanging.
What's wrong, Mom? But that's when I realized, like, okay, he sees me not at my best. And my daughter was 10 months then. She's gonna see, if not, she don't see, she feels. She, she's always on me. She feels what Mommy's feeling. They feel those things. That was my start to therapy.
Yeah. My daughter used to ask me, Mommy, you okay? And I was like, why she keep asking me that? Like, why don't you leave me alone? And I was like, the other thing is, like, she was a therapy baby, my son and my daughter, right? I was pregnant with them while I was counseling. And so my children are very attuned in a really weird way. I'm like, can you go attune to somebody else? Why do you care so much about me? Thank you for caring, yes. But also stop. But they are very attuned. And so to your point, children feel, they perceive, they pick up, they are aware in ways that they can't always articulate. And so sometimes they're lashing out, they're acting out, their challenges at school are not always about them. It's about what they're perceiving, what they're picking up, what they're feeling. And so we have to think about, how am I showing up? And not in again, none of this is from judgment, right? None of this is like, you need to be showing up differently. No, not in that tone. But if there are things that you are aware of, ways that you could be showing up differently, maybe now is the time to do the work. And everybody's work is different. And it looks different for everybody. But this opportunity we have to then experience something different and new for ourselves for the benefit that it will be to our children.
And they're very... we're very open in communication, but sometimes,
girl,
my son, Mom, listen, I'm like, do I want to look? I'm scared.
What are you going to say?
But I'm thankful.
Absolutely.
I'm very thankful. And he's 18. And he's still, Mom, real quick. I'm like,
brace yourself. Like, okay,
go ahead. What happened? He's like, okay, remember what I told you about? I'm like, okay. And I have to keep up with everybody and the things, but I'm very... very, very
But
thankful.
that's a testament to the work you've done to make sure that the relationship is safe. Because at that, as they say, at that big age, he doesn't have to call you and tell you anything if he doesn't want, like in terms of, details and things, right? So the fact that he chooses to, the fact that he keeps that door open is indicative of the effort that you've put in to do the work for yourself so that he could benefit and so that your relationship could continue to blossom. That's one of the benefits, right? We think about when we secure our own oxygen mask first, we are better able to assist the people around us, right? Me dying as I'm reaching over to put your mask on is not helpful to you. It's just not. So I take care of me, and in taking care of me, sometimes that means you have to wait. And so sometimes I tell my kids, hey, I need a minute. I'm going to go upstairs, and I will come back when I'm ready. Please don't come for me. I will come to you when I'm ready. And they need to hear it a few times before they get it, because they still knock on the door, and I just don't answer. And then when I'm finished, I make my way back downstairs, and they're like, so what did you do? And I said, I took a moment for myself. And so I've watched my daughter, who's 11. Sometimes she'll be frustrated with her little brother, who's 3. And she'll say, Mom, I'm going to take a minute. Can you keep him downstairs? And she'll go upstairs. I'll hear her close that door pretty hard. She don't slam it because she knows better. Push it real tight. And then, then I'll hear her come downstairs and she re-engages, right? But it's this opportunity we have to model some of that for them too. Like, I need to take space. And so, yes, you have permission to take space. And then we can come back together in a way that works for everybody.
Yeah, I say that too, but I'll just say, I'm not y'all's mom right now.
I like it.
I'm not your mom right now.
I like
I'm
it.
not.
I need a break.
So,
no, not right now.
I'm not. Can you? No, I can't. Or what are we eating tonight? DoorDash.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
DoorDash. Mommy's
Find
tired.
something in there you can make.
Hit the button. It'll charge the car. Like, I just can't. And we have those moments. But I actually just talked about this in my last episode. It's just, communicating with them what I'm doing and them understanding what Mommy's doing. Or, Mommy, you working on TCM, Chi Quita Mack? I'm like, yep. TCM. Okay, got it. And they go do what they do.
Yes.
You in the studio tomorrow? I'm in the studio. All right. Well, we'll call you after 2.
Yes.
So they understand, what we're doing. So
that's such a beautiful practice before them. We're modeling what it looks like to have boundaries. We're modeling what it looks like to have blocked out time for certain tasks or activities, and then the opportunity to fully engage and be present right? Because when I'm finished with these things, then I can be available to you. But if I'm trying to be available to you and do these things, and then it just makes everything so much more cumbersome. And then I'm irritated and short-tempered because I'm trying to finish this thing and you keep asking me to play. And then it's like, hey, wait, I need an hour. I'm setting the timer. And so it's funny, my 3-year-old the other night, I set the timer for him in the bath. And I said, hey, Siri, set a timer for 5 minutes. And he said, 5 minutes starting now.
I love it.
I laughed so hard. I was like, yep, you've heard that before,
You get
right?
it, don't
But he
you?
gets it. And he knows when the timer goes off, it's time to move into the next transition. And it's helpful for everybody. So again, that notion of modeling what it looks like to manage all of the things, but to not have to do all of it at one time. Because I think that's the thing. We watched our moms. I watched my mom do a lot.
Me too.
I watched her be burnt out. I watched her be irritated and angry. And I was like, I don't want that for me. Yeah. For me, I didn't want it. And so I definitely didn't want it for my kids. And so I get to change that, right? Like you said, we get to change the paradigm.
Yeah. I remember that too. Like, what is going on? I didn't know it then because you're just seeing it.
Sure.
And then when you go to, I'm like, oh, so you were healing. You were learning yourself.
Yes.
And you didn't know either.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We get to extend grace in a different way.
Yes, like we get that grace.
It doesn't make it okay because there's still the things that are not okay.
Yeah.
But when you zoom out, you can see like, oh, right? And then you hear the other parts of life that you were unaware of because you were a kid. You're like, oh, that makes sense. Yep. Right? And again, it's not an excuse. It's not like, oh, that's cool because. It's like, I see how that could happen. Yeah. And I also see how if we do things a bit differently, even when those other things are happening, we can have a different response or reaction.
Yeah, because she's definitely different. Grandma.
Girl, don't laugh. That's the episode. That's an episode.
That's the bonus episode.
That's the bonus episode. Harpo, who this woman? Why is she so nice?
Let me tell you what your granddaughter did. Oh, well, I'm like.
She got McDonald's money and everything.
Everything.
Like, wait a minute.
I did none of that.
Yes. Yes. But I think it's beautiful for me. I try to find the beauty in seeing whatever process it has been for her to get to the space where she has the love to share in a way that I didn't receive it. And so a part of me still, was like, man, it would have been nice to have that. And also, and I'm grateful that my little people get to experience that with her.
And the level of peace that my parents, both of them have. Because like I said, looking back, I'm like, gosh, they were struggle working, but now they're just at a good place, and it's really good to see. And like, what do y'all do? Oh, we gonna go to the gym. I'm like, oh, y'all so cute. They don't have the stress anymore, and so it is really, really good to see that. So
yeah, it is. Time is a benefit. Sometimes.
It is. Sometimes it is. Erica, I want to thank you so much for spending time with me, sitting on a couch with me, and just sharing your journey. I know you have blessed someone. Your voice is just very calming. I don't know if everyone ever told you that.
People say that often. And when I hear my voice, it sounds different. So
it's very soothing. So I'm just like, I feel good. So I'm sure someone's like, I feel good. I'm about to go listen to our podcast now.
Beautiful. Yes, please do.
Can you tell the audience where they can reach you and even hear your podcast?
Sure. Yeah. So the podcast is on Spotify and Apple. It is called Melanated Moments with Erica. I won't spell it because I might mess it up, but it is Melanated Moments with Erica. The website for my private practice based in Maryland is yourlifeswell.com. The same handle on IG at yourlifeswell. All things that I'm doing in terms of the work, the value I'm hoping to add to the world are able to be found online or within the IG space and platform. So that's where you find me. The book is also available on the website. We Over Me, Principles for Marital Partnership is the full title. And so if you are married, engaged, thinking about getting engaged, thinking about getting married, this is a great resource because it helps you think about things you're probably not thinking about when your eyes are googly and you're looking at your man or your woman across the table. And so the hope is that you'll take advantage of it and it'll be helpful to your journey.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, you guys, if you're listening to this wherever you listen to your podcast, make sure to leave a review. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. All right, you guys, until next time.